Hey there, thanks for checking out this video once again. Andrew LaFleur here. And on today's video, I want to ask the question, is this the end for the Calgary real estate market? If you've been following me for the past few years, you know that I've been a big fan, a big supporter, and big proponent of investing in the Calgary real estate market, in particular the Calgary condo market. And I personally invested there several units myself for my own portfolio, and hundreds of my investor clients, and probably many of you watching this video right now have invested alongside with me. And I thought it'd be a good time to just give an update on what's happening in the Calgary real estate market right now. So as we're heading here, time of shooting this video, almost at the end of 2022. It's been a wild year in the real estate market across the country. In particular, Toronto, Vancouver, the big cities, we saw huge price spikes in the first 2-3 months of the year, followed by almost as big price drops since those highs in the early Q1 parts of this year to where we are today towards the end of the year. So looking just at headline numbers, what's happening in the big markets, most of you watching, you're probably in Ontario. Toronto is your reference point like me. The home price index, the sort of basket index that we track the entire housing market as a whole, in Toronto, prices are down year over year, down 1.7%. Meanwhile, in Calgary, what's happening there? Prices are actually up 10%. Wow. So a huge difference there. And that continues to be the story. If you've been following along these videos and with me, you know that's nothing new. That's been the case for many months now, where Calgary is the best performing market in Canada, and it's outperforming all other markets. Compare that to when we first started talking about Calgary a few years ago on this channel. Calgary was something of a laughingstock of the Canadian housing market, and the Calgary market had been in the dumps for a number of years, from about 2014 really up until about the end of 2020, beginning of 2021. The Calgary housing market was really a non-story at all. There was nothing exciting happening there at all for real estate investors. It was a period of shall we say, very bad times for real estate investors there. And compared to the Toronto market was flying and going up by multiples, the Calgary market was not. And so we came to you a few years ago, and I came to you on these videos and through the emails that you received from me, if you're getting my emails, and told you that Calgary was a great time to start investing in Calgary as sort of a hedge, if you will, from our investments in Toronto, which had done very well, but there were starting to be signs that the market was just running away from itself and it was going up in an unsustainable way. And I don't think anybody's surprised to find out, or would be surprised if you told them, going back in 2017, 2018, you said, okay, over the next few years in Toronto, prices are going to double in like a 3-year period. But after that, prices are going to come down significantly. Nobody would be surprised at that statement, because you know that prices doubling in a very short period of time like that, as they did in Toronto and Vancouver and many other markets across the country, is very unhealthy, very unsustainable. And that's exactly what we're seeing in the market right now. So a lot of these negative headlines and bad news that we're getting here as in our investments here in Toronto and our property in Toronto coming down in value. Yeah, it sucks, but we're giving back what really was never ours in the first place, or what we shouldn't have thought of as ours. These price gains that we had in the past few years, unhealthy and completely unsustainable. We knew they were going to be given back at some point in some way. We knew that prices wouldn't keep going up at 20% a year. We know, and if you've been following me, you know that 6% number is that long-term average for most Canadian cities, that real estate values are going to go up. So if you go way above that 6% in a given year, you know that at some point in the next few years, there's going to be a give back of that. And in this case, we're seeing prices not flatten out, but actually come down in Toronto, in Ontario, and some markets in a very significant way. But Calgary, we're not seeing that at all. So the main thing I want to tell you right now is that, yes, there are major economic, financial, monetary headwinds that we are facing as real estate investors across the country, no matter where you're investing. We can't expect the good, rosy good times to be continuing no matter what the market you're in. when the Bank of Canada raises interest rates as much as they have, as quickly as they have in such a short period of time. So we are experiencing some pain across the country, but the pain that we're experiencing in Calgary is relatively light. And in some segments, we haven't experienced any pain at all yet. In fact, in particular, look at this. In the condo segment of Calgary, I want to touch on specifically. So yes, Calgary is outperforming every other market in Canada. Yes, prices are rising there. But as I said, there are some signs the market is slowing down. The market, even in Calgary, is responding to these extremely high interest rates. And what we're seeing, for example, is the detached home segment of Calgary. Sales are down 29%. Prices are still up by 10, 11%, but sales of detached houses are starting to slow down. Prices have risen a lot. Interest rates have risen a lot. So the cost of owning a detached house in Calgary has gone up significantly over the past year or so. So we're starting to see that slow down there. But on the other hand, condo sales are actually up 21%. Up 21%. And look year over year for condo sales in Calgary. So you could say the Calgary market is outperforming the Toronto market and every other major city's market. And the Calgary condo market is outperforming every other sub-market within Calgary itself. So condos are outperforming semi-detached and detached houses and townhouses and so on. So the condo market is doing great. So that really, it's nice to see. It's great to see that our thesis that we started with 3 years ago is so far proving to be true. That, by investing in the worst performing segment of the market and the worst market in Canada, condos in Calgary, a few years ago when we started doing this, and the thesis was, you're buying at the absolute bottom, lowest point. Things have nowhere to go but up. And that's exactly what's happening. So facing the biggest monetary financial headwinds against it that any market has seen over the past 20 years in Canada, the Calgary market, in particular the Calgary condo market, is standing up against these very strong headwinds that are trying to knock it down. And that just tells you, imagine when the market when we do get back to normal, when interest rates do start to come back down, whenever that happens. Speaking of which, I thought I'd interject my personal opinion. No one has a crystal ball, but I think this is probably going to be, in my opinion, a 1 to 2 year thing that we're in right now. 1 to 2 years of pain for us as real estate investors in a general sense across Canada, while we're working out this inflation thing and all this funky stuff that's going on in the economy. So we're about 6 months in. So it's not going to end tomorrow or the next quarter. I think it's going to be a 1 to 2 year thing before we start to, where the market rebalances itself and we start to build again. So yes, there is going to be pain ahead, but thankfully for us who've been investing in Calgary, we have that part of our portfolio that is performing quite well, that offsets and balances out our Toronto part of our portfolio that is not performing as well, and that is hurting pretty bad at the moment. So that's how I see things happening right now. This rebalancing is happening. It needs to happen. We need to get inflation under control. I do agree with that. I think most people would. It's not going to be a quick fix. We're starting to really get a sense of that. But at the same time, it's not going to be, I believe, a long-term problem either. So 10, 15 years from now, when we look back at this period, I don't think it's going to be this big of a deal as it feels like when we're in it right now. I believe in the historical long-term sense. As investors, we'll look back at this as a short-term period, as a short-term bump along the road. But again, a lot of the pain and the feeling of loss that we're experiencing on our balance sheets in the GTA in particular right now, and the negative cash flow because of the higher interest rates and the higher mortgage rates that we're experiencing, in the long term, this will be a blip. And I think we'll look back and we'll say, wow, yeah, we had a great run from 2019 to 2021. And of course, we gave a lot of that back in 2022 and 2023. It just things went too crazy for too long, and we had to give that back, and we had to get back to reality. We had to get back to that long-term trend line that we went so far beyond, and that's what's happening. I'm not saying I like it. I'm not saying you should either, but I'm just saying it is a reality for us as investors. It sucks, but that's part of investing. If you think that real estate always goes up forever, you shouldn't get into this game. If you understand that real estate is a long-term game, that over 10, 20, 30 years, the longer that you're in this game, the less that you worry about these kind of scenarios that we're in right now. And the more that you look at it as an opportunity to invest, there will certainly be opportunities from this pain and from these some investors losing out. Those are going to be turning into opportunities for other investors to take advantage of. So that's definitely something to keep in mind as well. Finally, just a quick note for anybody who's closing on a mortgage in the next few months. I've got a few myself closing the next few months. Again, unfortunately, my advice is not sunshine and roses. It's going to suck. You're going to pay a very high mortgage rate to close on anything today. But again, I believe this is a 1 to 2 year period. Short-term pain for long-term gain. We will get through this. If you do have a negative cash flow, that means you have a bigger write-off. That means you pay less taxes. So we've seen, the past few years, again, we paid very little interest. Now we have to pay more interest. 5 years from now, it's a wash, right? It's going to balance out. And the beauty of buying pre-construction, of course, today, and that's the great advantage of it, especially if you're buying our investments that we have in Calgary right now. We've got some great ones with 2027 closings. So you don't have to worry about any of this short-term, interest rates and everything that's happening right now. This is, you're buying something that's not going to be completed for 5 years. This is a great time to continue to invest and build your portfolio in Calgary, in the best performing market in Canada. If you'd like to get more information on our current opportunities, love to send them to you. Love to talk more about it. You can always reach me, Andrew@truecondos.com. You can call or text us 647-371-0110. Hope you found this video useful. Hope you got something valuable from it. Please share this with somebody that you know, another investor or somebody who's thinking about investing. Make sure you check out all the past videos that I have on my YouTube channel. And until next time, happy investing. We'll talk soon.